We don't remember what's wrong and what's right. The world is dead, but we stayed. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die.
Hey.
And we surrounded by the night. We live to die. We are shadows in the neon light. We are shadows in the neon light. We are just shadows. It's supposed to be that we die. It doesn't matter if there is no light anymore, no light anymore. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die. And we surrounded by the night. We live to die. We are shadows in the neon light. We are shadows in the neon light.
You understand? Oh, whatever.
We lost our minds in the darkness of night. We live to die. We lose our souls every day. We lost our minds. We don't remember what's wrong and what's right. The world is dead, but we stayed. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die. And we surrounded by the night. We live to die. We are shadows in the neon light. We are shadows in the neon light.
awesome trading day. Yeah, awesome day trading. It would help us with all of our coolness. You would have a good day at work. Safe travels on the road. Peace, name, amen. Pretty tired, man. Pretty tired. Pretty tired. Alright. That could be like that. Then we can go to OBS here. Make sure that is running. Where is this at? Oh man, dude, we gotta get going. We just wasted all of the time trying to figure out how to pair the Looks like we have just started. Historically, things looked up. Interesting. Oh, it's punching down. Punching down.
And there was one more G. Oh, here it is here. Oh, no. This is GCAD. So it looks like we're doing good on GBP CAD so far. This up $11.
Is that still with full position?
Yeah, this is still with one position. Run, if it doesn't do the pullback, like comes, let's say, around here, this would be my second entry.
Okay.
Right. So I'll get an alert saying, hey, this is my second entry. I will grab it again if it comes here. So this is a solid setup.
Gotcha.
And this is the risky sometimes where, hey, this thing might not pull back. At least I got some on the trade, right?
That one.
And obviously I wasn't. It's not. It isn't an A+ setup. Why I'm putting a half because I mentioned that 4 hour chart long.
Is this one?
It could be long, and this 1 hour chart looks kind of short. So kind of teetering between those lines. This overall, it does look like it would be short. So I'm just gonna put half on just to be sure.
Gotcha.
And man, I think I lost last one because I know there was one more that I was looking for, guys, and I cannot find it. AUD CAD. No, it wasn't this one. You know what it is? Typically, I would run through these. Oh, here it is here. Okay, it's AU. It's AU. It's AU. I'm like, man, why can't I find this? So yeah, this looks like this isn't going to work out either for the simple fact, as I said, this 5,200 has crossed to the upside now, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to get rid of this and take this off. All right, I was looking for this to see the 5,200 cross. I wanted some type of M structure here to go short.
Come on.
Which is not happening now. This is way too long. And another good way for me to tell if it's blown out the box, which means basically this is no longer the first leg, is if there's more than 4 candles above this high point, right? So if I make something here off the body, there's way more than 4 candles above here. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 candles above this, which is no bueno. This is not good at this point. So we have 2 reasons to say, nah, this is not short anymore. More than 4 candles above this first leg, and the 5,200 has now crossed to the upside.
All right. So yesterday we actually ended more than our
So probably
loss, but then we brought that back a little bit.
Yep, that's exactly what it is, right? Because it threw this can easily just bounce off.
Count
this
that
and
as
go long.
yesterday is being
Easily.
negative.
We got
$70 or whatever.
Crosses
we
here.
gotta
I like
be
this,
above 12288.
So this kind of a fake short.
This
They
one
did
is-
this little reset off this 800 EMA. Everyone thinks this is short, which I did too, as you can see. Right, I was ready for the shorts, but once we get this reset off this 800 EMA, price has broken above. This support is now, well, all resistance now support. 5,200 cross to the upside. This is looking long now. I'm not saying take this long, but you know, this is definitely looking long at this point.
What's going on?
If it comes to maybe some price around here, which is pretty much close to where it is, I would want to see a close,
Yes.
and then maybe a bounce off. But
Here we go.
to take this long, I would need the same thing that I always need.
Here
which would
we
be that
go.
W structure going long, market baseline going below the static for that reload.
And now we'll
And
just
that
go
one
ahead
will
and put the
look
left. We won't lock it yet because we don't know.
Boom. So this is now dead too. I only have GC on the board for today. I'll keep my eye on things, see if something else pans out.
230895.
Cool.
Yeah, that is pretty much it.
8.
Thanks, Michael. So, are you still there?
No.
9.
Yeah.
You're awfully
Can
quiet.
you hear? Yeah, I've just been playing around with the charts.
I see.
Been
I
a lot
see.
of time ready for this morning.
Guys, that zone I showed you on crude oil has actually been hit. I had my alert just trigger about 2-3 minutes ago. So maybe if you
So
could share
far,
my
we're
screen,
looking at
then I'll quickly pop on over to
2,
that.
3,
and
0, 2,
Just
1,
quickly look at that and hand things over to you, Tiger.
0. Ooh,
Alrighty.
Sweet.
Right, so there's that 4-hour
2,
fair value gap
1.
that's just been hit there on crude oil. And we'll just get rid of that line.
Alright,
Price is pulling into
whatever.
it. Also, if you slope a pitchfork
Whatever.
upwards,
Works for me.
you see price pretty much tagged that upper median line and then started moving sideways. Was also at that angled line that I got from the weekly. That black line over there, where all these internal little highs found resistance previously. So a lot of confluence at that high. That being said,
I'm just gonna do it real quick. Why
price
not?
is at that
Why
zone I've been
not?
waiting for.
Why the heck not, huh?
And I would like
Just
to take a trade.
pop
there.
this up right
However,
here. Boom. We don't even really use these
Go
anymore.
back to the
So I don't know
4-hour.
why I am doing it.
We have got that lower median line where price is pretty much
but,
at right
you
now.
know,
So
whatever.
for me,
We do
I'm just
crazy
hoping
stuff
this is not some
sometimes.
sort of a zigzag to the upside.
You know.
Like that.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do.
And now we're heading lower again. But so be it, right? It is where I wanted to get into a trade, where I'm interested in going long on crude oil.
I think we're there.
And
I think this one's down
NASDAQ,
here.
sorry, I'm on the futures charts there. It's just because I do watch both. CFDs, obviously, same area. Prices there. A bit of a long-ranging
there.
decline there.
Shaboom.
But crude oil, just like the
Shaboom.
NASDAQ, can also just turn around on a whim. Like it does it quite often. So I'm interested in this trade, but I'll do something similar
that's the
to
one.
what Tiger likes doing when price hits his supply and demand zones. Rather than just jumping in a trade, it'd be nice to see some sort of a bounce out of there, right? Maybe an engulfing bullish candle.
Bam.
And probably look at the
Bam.
15 minutes time frame for that, sorry. And then if I do get some sort of a bullish move
Bam.
out there, I'll go long, and stop loss will be placed below that fair value gap. Right, so I just wanted to confirm and quickly show you that price has actually hit that. We've been talking about, I've been talking about that zone for quite some while. Price is now, like I said, back in there. And unless it blasts straight through, right, then it is not a trade at all. And I'll have to move on and look at something else. So I'll keep an eye on crude oil on my side. Just quickly want to go to
tired,
the
guys.
Nazi, and then I'll pass it on to you, Tiger. NASDAQ
Might just be passing out.
100. Let's start off with the futures. Anyway, that's now been a pretty strong decline here. But anyway, on the NASDAQ, price is still a fair distance away from that 23,218 level, which is this upward sloping angled median line. It's actually a dashed red warning line. And this is the sort of semi-last one before that upper median line potentially could also be hit. So these are just potential targets, since price is now up in the air, right? If you look left with these all-time highs, there's no price structure, the historical price structure to look at. So for me personally, this is one of the only ways to kind of judge, or probably always a guess, but assume that prices might be moving towards those levels, right? So some sort of a projection of where price might still be heading towards. So obviously this week we punched last week's high, and then we had that strong decline yesterday, very volatile. Punched last week's high, massive fast reversal to the downside, and price has since then been moving a little bit to see how it's doing that dragging thing again. It's not catching up.
Oh, man.
That's weird. Yeah. Anyway, so prices within this up and down drop that we've had, they still make new highs again. So I'll keep an eye on the NASDAQ. That being said, a data because it's obviously I need to look at the CFDs side of things. Switch to the right space. And there we go. Where are we at? Again, very strong deal here at the open. Potential manipulation side, attacking previous AM sessions highs, and
All right.
drop downwards. Also take
So
the AM
tired,
session
man.
low out. We around about an upward sloping
Alright, looks
very
like we're
close
just
to
down
it.
here at the
For me
bottom,
personally,
bouncing
it does
around.
look maybe bearish. The reason why I say that is this 5 sequence we've seen here. Right, what do we get? 5-wave sequence. Generally, not always, decline. Right.
Go the other way.
So my areas of interest would be. Let me just get rid of that. The Nazi. If price could actually take London lows, we got a cluster of London lows that followed during the London session, and if it would hit that, it's still far away. Also, not to short this either. I want some sort of price confirmation. If price is lower, then I'll be interested in taking it. Price can hit these lows and then see some sort of reversal. Pretty small time frame already, but I done the entries on my Nazi's trades with 1 minute time frames. To the upside, if price is that low, then I would like to see price this bearish fair value gap that just formed, or as an inverted fair value gap, potentially move, and then maybe we could use that as an entry and also this upward sloping median line. So these angles are still working pretty well, I would say, on this pitchfork. So we can also, use some of confluence between that and gaps. So what I'm going to do here is just set an alert a little bit low on the NASDAQ, same as what Michael did there. I'm learning from him still. Maybe crossing down to Asia lows. And what I could also do is maybe just put another one above the value gap. Creating maybe is probably a better word. Inverted G, and that's it. So before I hand things over to you, Tiger, just
order filled.
Again, see if there's any sort of reaction to the upside, and I'm going to save that and go back to the other. The other workspace. Sorry, going to just navigate. It's spending a bit of trying to also, get everything to.
All right, let's see what happens right here.
Work and
We
flow
gonna bounce
better
up?
during these presentations, right?
What are we doing?
Again, it's also pressing the wrong button. All right, so there we go. Still there.
Yes.
And yeah, let's see if I can get a bounce on the next 15-minute can. To the upside, it looks a bit more bullish than it is currently. Then I'll take it. Right.
Nice.
Time being, guys, looking at crude oil, so I had to be quite patient. but sometimes it does pay off to be patient and trade. Definitely. It's over to you, Aga.
All right. Let me just go and get this puppy shared. Share. All right. I got my screen shared. Here we go. All right. Yes, sir. So, yeah. So yesterday I had a pretty good day. I
See
did
what
finish
happens
with one
right
loss,
here.
small loss, and then I had 3 winners. 2 of those winners were the trades I set, or I got into in the 4th of last week. They just I kind of went over them briefly yesterday, but they were just pretty boring. They just went kind of
Are we gonna
sideways.
break down
and
through?
then,
That's what we're looking for right
when it
now.
comes to them, which I'll just click on now.
See what happens.
Quite the spike there towards the afternoon here in the U.S. Anyway.
Is it a fake out?
We had.
Who knows?
I believe they were talking about news about, because obviously the U.S. They signed some legislation about a reserve, like having a crypto reserve fund, okay, for the government. So
yeah.
We're gonna lock this in place real quick.
There's been
Roswell
talks about that for some time.
All right, what are we doing? Where it is, we're gonna give it a shot.
yeah, so there was some more news.
Come on. Took so long to put that in.
About that. Looks like Roswell, New Mexico, which is where the aliens like to live. But they're the first city to create their own fund. Seeded it with, I think, just something small, $3,000 or whatever, just a goal. But their goal is to build that thing up to $1 million just in the crypto reserve fund.
Target filled.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, as soon as that
Let's
news
go.
came out, I mean, you can see we just got that big giant spiky candle. Go right there. I had obviously bought off of this demand.
Ooh, I don't know if I have a 30% consistency rule here.
Zone. Now, again, on my regular trading view, that's I actually looked at
net
the 2
profit
hour
here.
time frame,
Okay.
so we don't have obviously the 2 hour on this chart.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just imagine that's a 2 hour demand. Obviously, came down, touched it on the 4th.
Let's go.
And then just went sideways, and then as soon as these came out, it spiked up and closed me out for a pretty good profit. So, yeah,
Good stuff.
I mean,
Nice.
the fundamentals were good. I just
Nice.
needed a good news to push it to my target. So,
Well,
think
well,
from it.
well.
That's a very nice
so
trade.
that was, yeah, it was.
We're close
rather
to
surprising.
the
I'm
glad to know you was in there.
regular
What's that?
Order filled.
Glad to
Glad to know you was in there. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
remember,
it's funny.
I didn't get the first position on Bitcoin. I let the second one go, so I'm glad somebody got it.
Yeah. Well, I actually broke my rules when I got in the trade, because for me, looking at fundamentals, I like the 5 or higher score. Well, when I got into it, it was a 3. So I should have a good piece of news, which obviously that came yesterday. So that since moved up my fundamental score, but I just like it again. I mean, sometimes I don't know.
I still
you
want
get
to
to
enter
trading so
again.
long and studying thausands of hours of charting, and sometimes
Order filled.
Order filled.
I mean, even if something's not 100% perfect, and I'm not Nostradamus or anything, but you know, that zone looked great. It had a pretty good exit just from the technicals, and so
Probably should have stayed
I just
in.
went with it. So yeah. Anyway, it panned out. I took a nap yesterday midday.
I was gonna enter again,
woke up
but
and it hit. So
I don't know. That felt kind
I
of
guess I'll just
risky.
start taking more naps.
You have time for naps.
I want to be
You know,
smart
if you
with
watch
the
your
trades.
sport team, you have to go to the loo.
That's
Then
one we
always
could
score
just
a try
trade.
or like a goal. As soon as
So it
you
looks
go
like
there.
that.
Target
would've been
Order
filled.
filled.
Oh yeah.
That would
Yeah,
have been
well,
fine.
That's so you quickly go do your business, and thankfully I could wash my hands and peek over the door frame so I could see the TV.
Hey,
So
we're
it's
back
lit.
into profits here. That's good.
So yeah, that was Bitcoin,
So
and then
we gained 950
and then the other
today.
one
That's
was
all that we
pound
got right
Swiss.
there. I guess we should have
so let me
entered
just
back
put it
in.
here. Yeah, that was the
Unsure
one
if we
I,
have
had a short sell
consistency
on in
rule.
this area. It was down in let's see, yesterday was the 9th, so it was down in this area. Remember, I was talking about dropping my stop loss to well, I brought it down to break even, but I was just looking to slowly, trail it down. But all of a sudden, same thing. Woke up from my nap and it just shot down and closed me out. So yeah, that took care of 2 of my 3 trades I opened last week, and then the other one was the one that actually lost, which was the Euro.
For today. We have the core
that was my
CPI
lone
for
loss.
rands.
Let's go take a
At,
quick. It's always good. I always like to go back and double check
11:45,
whether I have
so
a winner or
don't
a loser,
worry
just
about
to
that.
see how it looked, kind of a
Today.
post game. But yeah, I had gotten in this area. Now it doesn't look so good on the GUI trades, but again on TradingView,
Cool.
the zone looked a lot better. So yeah, clearly it came down, tapped me in, and it broke that low, which is where I had.
I
my
guess
stop
we should have
loss.
jumped back in.
Took a small loss on that
Especially
one, no big
where
deal.
it was, as you can see.
Because any one of the
we're
winners
back
more than made up
into
for that. And then I also took live on the stream yesterday. We were talking footsie earlier in the morning, so I got into the footsie 800, and because it was giving me a score of a
I took
5.
a good 1400
so I was looking
yesterday
at that one
evening
on a 15-minute chart.
here.
Got and actually I
And
left a lot on the
yeah, look at
table,
that.
but
We're back into profits today.
bought in right
today.
here, and then as you can see, it just came up, closed it out just
So
before,
very interesting
just before the overhead
turn of
supply.
events
So
that maybe
just a quick, simple little winner on that one. I think $60 or something like that.
Mhm.
But
I don't know.
see, I limit because I had to do some running around, and clearly I should have probably left it
Dude,
open.
we're
Right,
just
there's
chilling,
always the
man.
high in sight. Always the high in
Gotta get
sight.
this
Well, why
funded
didn't I
one
leave it open? Why didn't I leave it open? But, yeah, I'm getting back into some of the shorter time frames, so resurrecting and dusting off some of the older methods. So yeah, I probably should have left it open clearly, but
Good stuff.
anyway, yeah, that was a good day. 3-1, pretty decent profit even with that small loss. So if I flip on over to my trading view, obviously we had job what was that report we had this morning? That was the unemployment for the US, so that was a good report. The previous report was 233,000. I think they revised it down to 232,000, but they'd actually projected it to go higher at 236,000, but the actual was even less than all those, so it was 227,000. So yeah, obviously a good good sign for the US dollar and obviously the US stock market. If 50 is my baseline, if I'm looking at my just taking a look at my my heat map. Let me go make sure that's popped up. Yeah. So I still have the US dollar at 54%. So that's pretty well neutral and fundamental story. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of no man's land. I don't really want to go buy it. I don't really want to go sell it unless I pair it with something that's really strong or really weak. Like obviously the euro dollar.
Oh, look at that. Cross that.
Currency,
we were hoping
followed
to get
closely
down to
by
here.
the New Zealand dollar.
Look at that. We probably are.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, we got 17% for the Canada dollar. So, you know, any chance I get to sell the Canada dollar or buy the euro or the New Zealand dollar, that's what I'll try to pair with it. So, in fact, I wanted to go over just some of my alerts that I've got set and see kind of where we're at. So UK, yeah, obviously that was the one that I had profited on. I had actually set another alert further down, but as you can see, it just ran off and left me. So what I would probably look to do if I'm looking at that on an hour is move that alert to this point here, because we do have a new point where price shot up. So yeah, I would expect price to retrace that whole area just because it moves so fast. I mean, really, since
it's just
Monday at like 3 p.m. Central Time.
Down.
I mean, it's just been going
should I just have
parabolic,
left
as you
that
can
and
see.
see? This is where I mess up.
So, so yeah, I mean, definitely, I would like to get in this area because
essentially I just grabbed half of what I was going to, and then a quarter.
Yeah, so it's still a score of a 5 on my fundamentals. And let's just step down. Let's take a look at some smaller zones. I mean, here's a 15-minute zone right here, a little higher up. 1, 2, 3 green candles coming out of that, so that's pretty good. 10-minute. It doesn't look as good on a 10-minute because I've got 2 candles. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, we got some really good volume. You know, even on that one there. So I mean, if we were to look at it on, well, that's 1 candle, so I probably would ignore that. But I do like this zone here because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 candles coming out of it. I think that's 6. Yeah, 6 candles. So that might be a potential spot, and then just incorporate this. This is what I call a zone on top of a zone, because they're just basically touching. So yeah, if I were to trade that area, I would just incorporate both of those zones like this.
Right.
Just make it one bigger zone. So that would probably be a good idea, a good opportunity there. If for some reason that zone doesn't work out, then I can flip back to my hour and then just kind of zoom in. And then I've got this one down here. So it's a little narrower, but
man,
look how strong it is. Now the big volume candle doesn't start until this zone up here. So that's why I've got that one in play on that smaller time frame. But yeah, I mean, if it retraces this whole move, then I would definitely look to, potentially take a second stab at that. But first, I want to move my alert up to this area here so that I can see what I've got when it comes down to that 5-minute or that zone on top of the zone.
See? Almost hit TP3 zone.
I got to hit it right on the line. Come on. Right on the line. Well, I'll just leave it a little ahead of it. We'll just do that. But yeah. So again, it's, if I get rid of my drawing, so it's this red candle here, this red candle here. So that's why I've just incorporated both of them, because they're just touching. They're basically conjoined, if you will. So yeah, got an alert set there. That one, we'll see if that one can hit here on stream or shortly thereafter. Pound dollar is the only dollar denominated pair that I have where I would actually consider buying the dollar because of the pound. Let me see here. The pound is 40%.
Starts moving up.
Excuse me. So if I go look at pound dollar, overall, obviously, it's just been a really strong uptrend. However, again, it has bounced off that daily supply zone from way back here. So that's really the only reason I would be halfway comfortable taking a short sell the pound, buy the dollar.
All right. All right. Cool.
It is because it did bounce off that. I mean, it's hit
oh
the
my
extreme
gosh!
highs, so,
look at that. That's crazy.
1
We
hour.
super missed it. We super missed it.
I like that because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 candles coming out of it.
That's gnarly.
So that shows consistent strength. Same thing above it.
Okay.
It's not quite a zone on top of a zone.
Don't want to FOMO
daylight
that. Like, I
between them,
really want to, but that would be, there goes
yeah, I might take a small
TP3
stab at this
zone.
one. But I really like
We'd
this one
still
up
be
here
in it
I've
because
got
this
my
is where we
VWAP
would have moved
line
our
coming
stop
through.
loss to.
So as
ZVY.
time progressed, excuse me. Yeah. So what I've done is
Super
put an anchored
hardcore that
VWAP
we
from this top
Called that.
point right here,
See it,
very
had it
top.
down
So
right,
where it
right
actually
there.
was in the overall.
Bam,
or the
but I had
overhead
to
supply
move
zone
my
daily, just the highest
move
point.
my stop
So I
loss a
just wanted
little
to
too
track
soon.
price
I should have
movement
jumped
from that
in right
point.
here,
So,
which
yeah, currently it's going
it
through that
did up there,
that
but
upper zone.
whatever, you know.
Now, if price quickly
Unlikely we'll get any more
retraces,
trades
then I would like that
today.
zone better.
or at least this morning.
If it just kind of goes sideways and takes a while to come back up to the area, obviously my VWAP would continue to trail
That's it
downward
for
as well.
this.
Kind of like you with your reload line, right? So,
Right.
you know, if I could,
You got to
really
see them
just
trap those
depends.
traders.
right? Yeah, and so it really just depends. If I can find my drawing tool, my goodness, my drawing tool.
Oh man, did I get hit? Yes.
There it is. It really just depends. So, you know, if I just kind of project
Mother trucker.
and to make that red, you know, it really just depends on how long it takes for price to come back up to these zones. Again, if it just comes up quick and blows through here, then I would more prefer this one because I'd be getting a bounce off that supply and off the VWAP. But if it comes up a lot slower, then I would look to take this bottom one like that. So it really just depends on the speed of the retracement, if that makes sense. So that's the slow idea. And then this is the fast idea.
Out of that, huh? Crazy.
So I got two options on that. That's kind of the way I see that one. Sorry guys, I'm losing my voice today. Excuse me.
All good, all good.
Yeah, so that would be my pound dollar. And let's take a look at the US 30. I do have an alert set here as well. On the 4 hour, I believe that's a 4 hour. Yeah. So 4 hour, I mean, look at that VSA candle all the way at the bottom, right next to the big red one. So I like that. That's an extremely strong move coming away. So we did have price come down. It's going sideways. It's forming some of these master pattern contraction boxes. So yeah, I just want to start seeing that manipulation come up and then come down, and then we look to take a buy. So it's already been manipulating pretty well. So I would be okay for it just coming straight down like that. Now I've got my overhead supply zone here, which is another thing I like to draw up. I'll always like to draw up my overhead, like if I'm placing a buy order, I just want to make sure and visualize my supply zone on whatever time frame I'm placing, whether that's the 4 hour like this or the 1 hour or the 5 minute, kind of like I did, you know, with the pound trade I did, the UK trade I did yesterday. It's going down there. Yeah, same thing. I just want to make sure and show my demand zone and my supply zone, my extreme points, so I know exactly where I stand.
Nice.
So yeah, that's UK, that's US 30. Go down to 15 minute. See what I got here. That's what I love, guys, about supply and demand and the master pattern. They work great on all the time frames. Just awesome.
Right.
5 minutes.
I call it fractional.
Yeah.
I like to trade the 1 hour primarily, and the 4 hour I'll use for confirmation, I'll drill down to the 15-minute, for that one setup the ID50. But in actuality, the same patterns occur across all time frames. It depends on if you want to be more of a scalper, more of a day trader, more of a swinger. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how you want to attack it. Because literally, I take 4-hour trades sometimes, but I just know I have to swing trade those. If it's a beautiful Mona Lisa, what I would call master trade on a 4-hour chart, I'm taking it. And I'll swing it because it's the same exact pattern that I would take on a smaller time frame. I just got to hold it a little bit longer. That's the only difference.
Yeah, because like when I first started trading 11 years ago, I mean, I started because I was just like everybody else. I wanted to be in on the action. So I was trading the 5 and 15-minute demand zones and supply zones. But that's back when I was still wet behind the ears. So I didn't know exactly what I was doing. See, I took my trading academy classes and, it's just like drinking from a fire hose. You learn so much at once because I took a stock class. It was a week long. And then, that's 2014. 2015, I took Forex class, and it was a week long. But the good thing with that is we get lifetime retakes, so I was able to retake those classes just because of how much information they just stuff into your head. But yeah, the point is, they teach the basics, but it takes a lot of trial and error to figure out all the nuances. So that's what I would tell anybody. Like basics of trading are simple. It's just all the nuances you got to learn. That, all the puzzle pieces you got to figure out how to lock together.
Agreed.
So, but yeah, I was starting off.
Sometimes you can't learn too much too fast because it's kind of like you're overwhelmed a bit, right? Like a small part for me would be when I mentioned that this is an M off the 200. Once someone can identify that, then I'll add an extra piece and say, well, just now that you can see the M off the 200 or the W. Just so you know, it's actually 3 different variations. It could be an M, it could be a half a bat, or it could be a head and shoulders. Now that you can see it, we can talk about that. But I don't want to confuse you with too much in the beginning because you'll end up not showing up tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to blow them out of the water.
All right.
But yeah, like I say, I started with that, and then I ended up, getting with the jobs I had back then. I was sales, doing sales work, sales jobs. That's when I really started getting good at the 4-hour and 1-hour because I couldn't be on the charts all day. So, yeah, that's where I've pretty well been at. But it's nice to get back to the smaller time frames, getting rid of these other commitments I've been in the middle of, to where I could get back to playing, playing where the action's at. So. Yeah, that's why I say I'm just kind of. That's why I put a limit on that trade yesterday.
Let's see. We could have probably got half of the 1 day out. Crazy.
Yeah, the NAS dropped very hard. I'll go over that a little bit.
Okay.
In more detail, but you can go forth. I actually feel like I should get into this crude oil trade.
You can hop on if you want. I can come back. It's up to you. Because I'm going to go look at a couple others. But yeah, go right ahead.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a
silver
stab at this. So we do have a little bit of a bounce. And this is on the 15 minutes. There was also a fair value gap, a bearish one. And it looks like it might get inverted. So that might be an early indication that we getting that bounce I've been looking for. It is within that area I discussed previously, so I'm not going to wait for the fair value gap to get broken there. It's just because of the risk. It will eat into my risk reward, if that makes sense, right? So that's what I would try to aim for. Stop below that big 4-hour fair value gap and target this almost like triple top formation that we've seen over there. All right, so assuming that price might gravitate back towards that. All right, so I'm also willing to keep this trade overnight. I'm not sure things on my phone on TradingView sometimes, see how it develops. But without further ado, let's go and execute that. My stop on the CFD sides of things is going to be at 65.20, and I've already set the target. It's way up there. Well, I have to set the target first. Let's just drag that out for the time being, and let's do this. Going long. There we go. I'm in.
Good deal.
Right, so stop loss, again, slightly below that level, and the target, by the looks of this thing, is all the way back up there. I'm just interested in a good 2-1 at the moment. Right, small trade, but that is what I've been looking for. I had the patience to wait, so hopefully it pays off, right? And that's it, guys. Back to you, Tiger. I had to take a trade quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting,
No, that's
but it's always
good.
nice to show the trade. All right. We are getting a bit
That's
of a
good.
move up there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Right.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Oh, let's get you some cash this morning. Yeah, as far as the euro dollar, that's my strongest major at a 6. I do have a really good demand zone on a higher time frame on a 4-hour right here. Pretty good candles coming out of there. Now that also is a little bit of a resistance point over here before that big former spike down. So that's why I put the blue lines. Just as a reminder, I put blue lines where there was former support and resistance points a little further back in time. So like over here, I got one right here. Looks like I need to add one right there, don't I? Right there. So got one there. I don't want to put too many. Just some of the basics or some of the major ones, like obviously there as well. But yeah, looking at the 4-hour chart, I mean, I had 1 point there of resistance right there. That's a second, and that's a third.
Oh, so tired.
Former points of
now.
resistance. So we'll see if resistance becomes support. If and when price comes down to that zone. So I like that one. What's my fib look like on that one? Let's take a look. So just right at the 61.8 would be just below that would be a stop loss. So I do like that. It's between the 50 and the 61.8 on the fibs. So pretty good spot as far as the fibs are concerned. I like that. But again, that's a little further out. A little further out. What else I got? New Zealand Canada dollar, dollar Canada dollar. Oh, it looks like the dollar Canada dollar is now in the 5 camp. Dollar Canada dollar. So
In the 5 camp. That's the good camp, right? At least.
Yeah, 5 or higher. 5 or higher, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's take off my drip for a second here.
Take the safety off at 5.
That's right. Well, I like it because, before I had a strict set of rules on my fundamentals, I would just trade anything. Anytime I'd see a supply or demand zone, I would just trade it. So I wasn't paying the greatest attention to the curve,
All right,
to the
what is
trend,
going on?
all those things. And, it was just too much. And so when I finally figured out the fundamental side of things, it just made it easier because it only limits me to X amount of things I can trade in a day rather than trying to trade 28 currency. So, it's just nice. I just like it. Give me the strongest, give me the weakest. But yeah, dollar Canada dollar. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a zone right here. Looks like that's going to be around the 61.8 as well if I go from here to here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 61.8. A little lower on the scale, but yeah, we might as well draw that in. Oh, and something I wanted to let everybody know. So when it comes to your drawing tools, obviously when you make a box, it's freestyle. If you want to pinpoint the tops or the bottoms of particular points, just hit your little magnet tool over here. Just click that, and then it'll automatically go to the bottom.
Mm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to actually grab my tool again. It'll go to the bottom, and then it'll lock it into the top of your candle. See, I didn't even touch the top or the bottom. It just moves it automatically.
That's good.
It took me about 10 years to figure that out. but it's the magnet. So like if I move it to any point, any candle, it automatically goes to the bottom of that.
Right.
So I love it. It's just so much quicker to draw.
So it snaps with the drawing tools. Yes.
Yeah, but exactly. And it's on our GUI trades as well, or whatever platform. But yes, the magnet. So we give everybody something to play around with. Because I mean, when you don't have it on, if you just want to quickly draw, you gotta try to line it up perfectly and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like that.
And those little circles are in the way.
Then you'll find sometimes you'll miss the edge of the candle or whatever. So anyway, just thought I would throw that out there, especially for anybody at home looking. Okay. So yeah, dollar Canada. Let's see. Let's take another look at this. So obviously we've been in a strong downtrend. I'm just now getting a 5 or higher score. So yeah, I'm just the most interested in. Let me reset my chart. Smaller time frames. I'd be looking in this area. So let's just go look down on a smaller time frame. All right. So that 15 minute. Let's draw in the hour. I wanted to show you guys this. So this is zone confluence. So there's my 1 hour candle. And then when I go down to a 15 minute, I've also got a 15 minute within the 1 hour. If I just draw that in. This is an odds enhancer. Yes, this is an odds enhancer for me, what I call an odds enhancer. So that makes me feel real good about that candle. Now, I would prefer to see 1, 2, 3 candles green coming out of that. So that would be the only slight knock on this. But
yeah,
we can always go down to a smaller time frame. Let's see if the picture looks better.
It's on a smaller time frame.
Right. So I don't like that because the candle after that last red candle was a green candle and it didn't even break the height of that. So I don't like that on a 10-minute perspective. This is where nitpicking can really help you out. 5 minutes, that's the lowest I personally go.
Sense that I should look
at. 5 minutes,
Yeah.
I got the one big green candle coming out. So that's a pretty strong exit.
This
But
is doing-
then you
if
start
this
getting into
travels
the
all way
smaller
back
zone.
up,
Right?
that means this is
So I mean, yeah, I could
probably
draw
going
in
to
that
make it
5 minute
through
candle.
as well.
But the reality is, it's only about
Yeah.
2.2 pips. So that's too
Like
small
maybe
for
I'll
my taste.
add
If I'm trading from a 5 or a 15,
the
give me at
ES.
least 5 pips, preferably something like
Yeah.
8 or
What would it
pips.
be?
So yeah, it looks to me like the 1 hour, was 10 pips. I think that was 10 pips. Let's go back down to that 15. Yeah, let's just measure it. So
Yes,
from the
you
1
fire.
hour. So that's 5 pips on that 15-minute candle, but it's 9 pips on the 1 hour candle. So just to further fine tune this, something I like to do is look at the VSA. So the last red candle for the 15-minute, if I look to the candles to the left, which is what the 1 hour is incorporating, then I like to see what the volume looks like on those candles. Is it less? Is it more? So for me, it looks to be that they're less. So that tells me, even though this is the 1 hour candle, the candles on the 1 hour time frame aren't really that impressive. Not until you get to the 15-minute candle, because the candles after that last red candle start to grow in volume, as you can see at the bottom.
Mm.
So just in fine tuning that, I would personally prefer to take the 15-minute, buy in the 15-minute, because again, those candles that the 1 hour demand zone candle are incorporating, the volume down here is less, all the way down here. So, but the volume
is it
immediately
down
after
already?
that red candle on
Holy
15 starts
moly.
to grow and go higher and higher. So
Holy
that's why I
moly.
would prefer to see price come into the 15-minute candle itself. In other words, I don't want to buy just because it hit the 1 hour candle. If that makes
Gotcha.
sense. So,
Right.
and I've got the multi-time frame output. What's that?
At least it makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
I get.
you need
Yeah,
more
that's getting a little
confidence.
more in. little more in-depth stuff, but you know, this is again the nuances that just take time to learn and master. But yeah, I mean, I would feel okay taking out of the 1 hour buy, but I would feel even better waiting for the 15. So I'm gonna go ahead and put me an alert
I
there.
don't want to take this to the downside.
Cool.
An alert set up there. I'll just throw that.
You're
out
heavy
till
on the
end.
alerts today.
Yeah. End of
Gotta
the
be.
trade session tomorrow.
For me, the lifesavers. Like seriously, that up my game when I start using alerts actively.
Now I'm gonna put my alert for the 1 hour, but obviously that'll give me a few minutes until it hits the 15. So I hope that makes sense.
Here you go.
Right now.
That's the best way I would want to trade dollar Canada dollar.
Cool.
What's something to short today? Pound Swiss, Aussie Swiss. Should I get back into that pound Swiss? I mean, it paid me
Please
yesterday. Let's see if I got another.
I know. Overstay.
Yeah. What's that?
Overstay. You're welcome there.
Yeah. That zone worked out on Wednesday. Let's see here. 15-minute. Yeah, ugly zone. I don't really see. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one right there.
Nice.
Right there.
This quant tower's pretty decent.
5-minute looks good, except it's again only 2 pips wide. Yeah, so we're getting into the too big of a magnifying glass. So I'm not really interested in that. We'll stay away from it. It's ugly. Like Michael says, I need better looking legs.
It's ugly. It's ugly. I'm quick to say that to people.
Yeah.
Like, no. You know when something's cute when it's not. Like, come on now.
Like babies, right?
I know what it's doing.
Like you're forcing it. You're forcing it. Like we just got here, dude. That's the one you're gonna go for because she looked at you. No, that's not the route you want to go. Be patient. Right?
You're
might get a supermodel. I like them supermodel trades.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mona Lisa.
You're awesome.
Michael. I don't know if she was a supermodel back then, maybe.
Dang, kind of want to take this short.
I added an alert on Euro Aussie down here at this 4-hour zone. I wanted to get away from all this junk. This is what you call crap, especially on the daily. Look at that. It's just a bunch of crap. You got wicks on top, wicks on bottom. If I move this chart on the right, my daily, if I move it to a weekly, yeah, I was going to say, I know form a master pattern box. So this is higher time frame stuff, but on a higher time frame, it's just a contraction point on the weekly. So, obviously I would prefer price to leave either the top or the bottom. I don't care which. And then I'm surprised that it's not painting it that way, but like to me, a master pattern contraction point. Yeah, I guess I'm getting better and smarter than the algorithm because I see it.
Let's give it a shot.
I see that as a major contraction point. So the algorithm ain't going to draw it in. I am. So it went up, it went down. So yeah, but I want it to come down to this point here. So 4 hour, that's probably the best looking zone. I don't want to touch it anywhere in here. Well, I mean, it is kind of creating your fair value gap if you look at it from this point of view. Well, it's actually been mitigated, I guess, from that candle right there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably. That'd probably be out of play. Fine tuning.
It's not too far away.
It's not, yeah. I mean, about 50, 60 pips, so that might be in play, but I got my alert set on it. Your Aussie dollars. Let's see. Yeah, see all these Swiss pairs that it's wanting to buy. I just don't like the fact that the ATR is so small. Pound Swiss, Aussie Swiss. Well, no, I think one of them was good. Aussie, yeah. See, Aussie Swiss is only 44 pips. I don't want to touch it. I I like molasses on my pancakes, but not on my trading. Pound Swiss, that's 73 pips. That's
All right.
That's just barely in my wheelhouse.
Flatten those
it
out.
looked like it did hit this
Boom,
1 hour
boom.
supply zone. It's starting to go down, of course, while I'm sleeping, right?
We almost got a
Master
$50.
So he
Of
had a zone
course.
on top of his zone.
But we need to sleep as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Left
If
this
they know
zone,
that.
came down.
Probably should have stayed in that.
My mentor told me that behind the
Hey.
screens,
You know,
these guys, like,
the
let's say there's
slow,
3 different makers,
long
right?
haul.
And when it's about time for us to get tired, and that guy
The slow, long haul.
tax the next guy in and say, "Hey, it's 300 million down there. Make sure you hit that price point. We'll be good to go." They high five each other and say, "I'll see you tomorrow."
We're about $30
The next
away
guy
from
comes
what
in,
we
they
lost
Keep doing it on rotation while we're
yesterday
sleeping.
before the close.
Yeah.
We stand no chance when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So you really
That
can't get
40
too mad
something
when
was call it 50
something move
loss
happens
turned
in
into
sleep. It's like,
200,
dude,
which was
it's
twice
3
as
against
much as
like,
what
look,
my max
market
is.
maker, the New
I
York
was,
market maker, and the London
started
market
losing
maker
control.
against you. Little.
And
Murphy's
yeah,
Law. That's Murphy's Law in effect.
we luckily caught a move
That's for
afterwards
Yeah.
for
Last one
softball,
I'll
and then it
show
lasted
real
all the way
quick,
through
guys. I'm sorry,
softball
I'm
and
taking
getting
up
home.
space.
I didn't get
It's
it on
Dollar
my
Swiss. So, yeah,
funded
same thing.
account.
Getting
I actually
very-
just
very
was a little
much
bit more
off the
scared
break-even
to
GCAD.
trade it.
Oh,
Just
nice.
because
Um,
I caught it with this account,
Okay, you
obviously
say,
that's what gave me that
Dollar Swiss,
1400.
last one. I have an alert
This
set
one,
up here on this 4-hour
and
zone.
by the time I got here,
You
it
can see
already
this
started
zone got
moving,
touched at one point
and it
and
did
dropped,
retrace
so that
back,
was
and
a
I could have
good-looking
got it,
zone,
and I
which
just
there's
didn't.
another one that I missed.
I was
So,
waiting
yeah.
for a little bit more of
Same thing.
a
Going
one more back
sideways,
test,
did
and
hit
it
up
didn't.
higher in
And
the
it started
demand
dropping,
zone.
and then I just didn't
I
want
want
to
to
get
see
in
it
after that.
bounce up.
Should have,
Zone
but it's
right
okay.
here, and yeah, I bet I could probably find a VWAP line off of this higher.
Feel
this
pretty
high
good.
too, to add extra confluence.
About where we are.
Yeah.
That's basically it for the moment. If you want, I'll
Uh,
pass it back to you, Michael.
I'm
and
gonna
then I'll
keep this out of my mind to reach the
finish off here.
200 a day. I have to have
Let me share my
$200,
screen
5
here,
days.
guys.
Not consecutive, I don't think. But you need to have at least $200 days.
Let me get this up.
5 of them before you can take a
Oh,
payout.
there we go.
I'm probably going to
Okay,
do the
perfect.
long
You guys see my
haul
screen?
of getting it above
Yeah.
750 first.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So
100.
we got in here. Price was in at 68.
Actually, I'll probably get it up
So,
pretty decently high
68
before
was,
trying to hit $200
move
days.
it down a little bit
Um,
to make it 60 is technically here.
Essentially,
this
you
is
have a
about
trailing stop
halfway
loss
for
of
me.
750,
At this point, I
or
just like to
trailing
take off
drawdown is
people my stop
750
loss to break
on this
even.
account.
So we're
So
in at
once I get it
68. I'll just move it
above
down
750,
66.
um,
So just move this stop loss
then,
down.
so basically, because I got a 25K account,
6.
so at
At this point, I was just like
25,750,
double check thing.
anything
I
above
usually see
that,
I won't lose any money on
that's
this
kind of
trade.
where,
So I'm gonna first
No,
move
no,
my
no.
stop loss to break even.
No, no,
So we're
so my
50
trailing
off the table. There's no way I can lose this trade.
750. So once I get to
Then
2,000
I am gonna take
or 2,500,
half a position. So
set
typically,
25,750.
a half.
The trailing
full
drawdown
position,
stops
on a
um,
good set. That doesn't take
once
up
I'm
the quarter,
above
because I do still
that
believe it's
threshold.
gonna continue to go.
So then,
So you're taking
So
quarter
for me to take
off.
partial,
then
yeah,
as I
and
make
can
more
do that here. So
profits on top of
what I
that,
do is 28 divided by
the trailing
4.
becomes static at
What is that? 8 divided
25K unless I draw
Seven.
down
So I'll just
underneath
take
the
7.
Jesus.
25,750. Then it'll begin to draw back in there.
Fix.
So I'll probably get it above that.
7 is uneven.
Unless I just catch a really good move, but then that's when I'll either run 2 contracts
Cool.
or
So
I'll,
we just move our
you
stop
know,
loss to
I'll
break even.
run 2.
Yeah. And it's weird, right? Because sometimes I'll
Maybe.
want to take off anything, but I don't like to build a habit of doing that. I
So
literally like
our
to stick
risk
to doing the same
reward
exact thing. So
is 50.
although it was only a few.
So yeah, if I put two
Like, Tiger
contracts,
said, I can get
then
some coffee here. Man, I can get
a
some
single
yeah,
trade
got some
would
tortillas,
have
you know, I can do
Ooh.
$5 here.
$100. I
Oh,
think
yeah, one of my favorite foods.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
man.
love it.
per trade, something like
I
that.
miss
So yeah,
food
we
in
pretty much
Mexico.
done
I
with
live
this.
there.
Anyways, pretty
Well,
tired.
Good job. That was a nice
I think
fast
we're gonna
move.
call it there. We did have a good green day.
Yeah, and I can see like once it actually can typically within 1 or 2 candles, I may either break even or take profit, one of the two. Perfect example. Literally, once we took this trade, yeah, we had this last one a little bit funky,
questions?
but we were really looking for was the price to close
Anything
this
like that?
blue tracer, which again we still have 30 minutes on this trade. Totally back up here, right?
Yeah, we were gonna wait for
And
this. We'll
take
see
me
what
out.
this does.
And then something like that. That could happen. It could also do something like, where is this thing at? I don't want to take that one off. I hate
What
what happens.
is oil going to do?
It could also do something like, hold on, let me
Yeah,
bring
I
this back
can't
over
even
here.
really pay attention. Can't even keep my eyes open. I'm gonna
$6.
All right, cool. So 68
take a
there.
quick 15-minute nap.